The Orange Bowl. Home to Miami sports legends for over 7 decades, is about to be demolished. It's a monster job. Over 70,000 seats, over 9,000 square meters of turf, and over 5,000 tons of steel. To make way for a new stadium, it's all gotta go. But they must recycle 95% of the structure, so it can't be imploded.
Okay, everyone clear.
It must come down piece by piece.
Hold on.
They only have 4 months to do it.
Jason, we're all clear.
And the clock starts now. Miami, Florida, USA. Home to pristine beaches, palm trees, and the Orange Bowl. Once the crown jewel of Miami, this 70-year-old football stadium has been home to the University of Miami Hurricanes and 5 Super Bowls. Now it's old and too expensive to repair. So the city of Miami has decided to lay this legendary stadium to rest, to clear the land for a new state-of-the-art baseball park. In just 4 months, a demolition team needs to remove 23,000 square meters of structure. Not only is the timetable tight, the city of Miami mandates that everything must be salvaged or recycled. It's a mega job with a mega deadline. The city chose Decommissioning and Environmental Management Company, or DEMCO, for the contract.
Jason, we're all clear.
I'll confirm.
DEMCO's Ed Hartman takes command of the site and the task ahead of him.
We have formed once to turn it into what'll pretty much be a parking lot or one big footprint in the city of Miami.
Under Ed's watch, this supersized demolition will unfold in 3 stages. Stage 1, the gut out. Remove or recycle nearly 10,000 square meters of turf, over 1,000 kilograms of light bulbs, and over 70,000 seats. They also must clear the stadium of asbestos, a potentially deadly killer if left uncontained. Stage 2, the strip down. Take down 8 9-ton hurricane-grade stadium light towers, while mega machines rip, strip, and prep the stadium for the 3rd and final stage, demolition. They'll cut, pull, and pummel the remaining 12-story skeleton, moving around the bowl until it's reduced to rubble. When they're done, there'll be nothing left.
All right, good morning, everyone. We're going to go through our brief this morning.
DEMCO is tasked with taking down the Orange Bowl in a matter of months. But as safety manager, Ed Hartman must also do it without injuries. So every day starts with a safety meeting.
We're going to be working on the north, east, and southeast side C&D removal.
Buenos días. Vamos a estar trabajando.
It's a bilingual crew, so a translator is key.
En la parte norte del estadio y también en la parte sur.
Okay, also this morning, it's going to be really busy coming in and out of this gate, gentlemen. So you got to pay attention to where you're walking around and where you're going.
With a zero accident policy, he has a lot riding on this job.
Every day is dangerous. There's not a day that you can't look by and not see a hazard around you. So you have to be on your toes every day of the week. It doesn't matter if it's day 1 when you're mobilizing or the last day when you're demobilizing. All right, guys, have a safe day.
Yeah, that way I know who's who.
At 7 a.m., stage 1, the gut out begins. Workers need to remove or recycle anything that isn't part of the concrete and steel structure. There's over 23,000 square meters of stadium to cover. So Demco Superintendent Wayne Melton must tightly command his crew.
Here. You got a little hammer? A little hammer. Right now, we are interior gutting. All these concession and offices have to be taken out. All the drywall has to be stripped down to bare concrete. We got a crew in these back rooms just tearing down all the wood, light fixtures for recycling.
Each material must be salvaged and sorted, including over 1,000 kilograms of glass light bulbs. But the bulbs are delicate, so it's not a job for mallets and muscle. Each bulb needs to come out by hand, one by one. And then there's the 70,000 famous orange seats. They're plastic, and they've all gotta go.
We had to zip all the bolts off all the seats. Then we had another crew right behind them coming in and popping up all the seats, stacking them, taking them all into the alleyways.
With a recycling goal of 95%, it's all a major challenge. But luckily, some of the gut-out has already been taken care of by generations of Orange Bowl fans that all want a piece of its history. Built in 1937, the Orange Bowl was host to the University of Miami Hurricanes for nearly 7 decades, and home to pro football's Miami Dolphins for 21 seasons. Not to mention the site of 5 Super Bowls. Over the years, attendance grew. New seating sections were added, and the number of seats swelled from an original capacity of 23,000 to over 80,000. This historic stadium has no shortage of die-hard fans, and they all want a part of it to call their own. So before Demco even started the gut-out, the memorabilia company Mounted Memories combed the stadium for collectibles. In charge, Mitch Adelstein.
We're taking out everything you can imagine here, anything that we think that would appeal to a fan or collector. These are examples of what they call the bucket seats here at Orange Bowl Stadium that we're in the process of pulling out about 25,000 of. And these will sell like this for $39.99.
But the big seller? Vintage benches.
This is the most unique surprise in the stadium for us, and it really is. This is like opening a treasure chest. What you found here in the West End zone are the original benches that go back to 1966. And as you can see, and we've taken the top off of one, the original Orange Bowl orange with a number on it. We were just thrilled to be able to find some vintage product like that.
They'll sell from $500 to $600 a bench.
Live auctioneers online.
Mounted Memories makes everything they salvage available for sale. After weeks of super sales, they managed to raise $250,000. The money will offset the cost of demolition. But now, it's Demco's turn to get their hands on the bowl. The site is tightly secured. Anything left behind by the memorabilia crew or Orange Bowl staff is now Demco's property. Any leftover orange seats have missed their chance of becoming souvenirs. Instead, they'll be melted and reformed into underground tubing and septic tanks. That's a fact that doesn't bother Wayne Melton. He's a hardcore football fan, just not of the Miami Hurricanes.
I'm a Oklahoma Center fan, so this is kind of my sweet revenge from the 80s, so.
The seats are history. Now it's time to take out the sprawling framework they rested on. But they're welded to the stadium and don't just pop off. Wayne's got it covered.
Make sure you keep this hose out of the way, okay? They are torch cutting all the aluminum brackets. 2 or 3 guys pull them up and they just slide them all down for easy access for recycling bins.
Under Wayne's watch, the gut-out piles grow. To move it all out, the demo team needs to bring heavy machinery onto the field. But they can't risk destroying the expensive Bermuda turf with the weight of their mega machines. So the sod must come out first and fast. But this isn't grass you'd find in any backyard. It's Super Bowl turf. So the city has some special plans for it. They'll transplant the turf in a local park 3 kilometers away. For this job, turf experts Sod Farms roll through the secured gates.
We get these guys set up and get everything going.
Team leader Mike Newby assesses the job ahead of him.
It's approximately 200 pallets, being about 500 square feet on a pallet. It's quite a bit of turf.
Mike and his crew get to work assembling their machinery.
We're done.
But since the job doesn't start until tomorrow, the team does what any football fan would do.
Hey, you gotta go in after him, man. Come on. I'm 70 years old. If I can do it, by God, you can.
Play the last game of football on the famous Orange Bowl turf.
You're not allowed to hit you till the ball leaves your hand.
Come on, boy.
Hot one. Up 2.
I had him nervous.
Up 2.
Get him, fat boy, get him! Get him! I'll be exhausted the rest of the day.
But like the Orange Bowl, all good things must come to an end.
Playtime's over with. Tomorrow's work day. We'll be at it bright and early, as soon as the sun comes up.
The team needs their rest. Because starting tomorrow, they've only got 48 hours to get their job done. It's the first month of demolition, and Demco is in stage 1, the gut out. To stay on schedule, they need to start stripping down the Orange Bowl, and fast. But there's one thing in Demco's way: a literal football field of famous Orange Bowl turf. It's all got to come out before their heavy machinery can roll in. This historic grass has been part of the stadium for over 30 years. Dale Sandine, the stadium's grounds and turf manager, has cared for it nearly its whole life. Today, he's in charge of its transplant to a local park, and he wants it done right.
I guess I'm trying to get, the best stuff we can.
But Sod Farms' Mike Newby has his own agenda: speed. His team has only 48 hours to get the sod out. They need to remove over 9,000 square meters of grass. So Mike commands 2 crews of cutters. Each machine is equipped with a mechanical blade that slices the sod every 2 seconds. A rotating drum feeds the 60-centimeter pieces onto conveyor belts and into the crew's eager hands. Like hungry animals, the machines gobble up the turf at a rate of almost 3 square meters a minute. But like any speed eater, there's the potential for hiccups.
It's cutting off camber to one side a little bit.
Yep.
The machines are cutting the sod unevenly, and that's a problem for Dale.
It's too thin on one side.
Right.
Mike's got a schedule to keep, so he fine-tunes on the fly.
Get an old board or something to scrape some of the dirt off that drum. See if we can get that cutter to ride a little better.
But Dale wants only the best turf for the park.
And this stuff up in here that's crap, just leave it. I told you guys, when they hit the end zone, just skip it. It's falling apart. You know, see if we can concentrate on the better stuff to start with.
Got it.
Does that make sense, or?
It's all got to go down one time or another. However you want to do the easy part first and the hard part later, or you want to mix it up. It's totally up to you.
Okay, sounds good.
Appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. It's going to be a long day.
But environmental consultant Sergio Adasme has an even bigger challenge on his hands: asbestos removal.
Well, how much we have left?
Asbestos fibers are extremely strong and heat resistant, valuable attributes in construction. Until the early 1980s, the fibers were added to building materials, including the concrete in the Orange Bowl. When builders constructed the stadium bleachers, they used an asbestos-infused fiber panel as a base to form the concrete. But asbestos is highly toxic. Inhaling the fibers scars the lungs and leads to severe illnesses, even death. In the US alone, it's the cause of an estimated 10,000 fatalities every year. Shattering the concrete would release the toxic fibers into the air and endanger the workers. So the panels have to come out intact before Demco can begin any structural demolition. In a mobile office in the Orange Bowl parking lot, Sergio assesses the job ahead of him.
A total number is 782 panels that we have to abate.
Demco's tight timeline makes this a tough task.
We knew that the asbestos material was going to be difficult and it's going to be time-consuming.
Sergio and his team have a plan to stay on schedule.
And we're removing from east to west, allowing the contractor to come behind us and demo the building after the panels have been removed. We're trying to move it by sections, so even though that we may not have total abatement at one time, the deconstruction will still continue.
But identifying the asbestos on paper is the easy part. The biggest challenge is marking and removing it in the real world. The asbestos panels hang up to 9 stories in the air. But the team has a solution. And it involves a gun.
Instead of climbing part of the Orange Bowl, which is quite a task, it was decided to use a paint gun to be able to mark it with a paint that was not common in the Orange Bowl. In this case, we chose pink.
With his trained eye, Sergio identifies the asbestos panels. Now, they're clearly marked for even the untrained eye.
It was a little strange at first, but after a while, it's second nature. It's and you get to practice your aim.
Sergio finishes tagging the panels for removal. But Mike Newby still has truckloads of turf to deliver. Kilometers away, the Orange Bowl sod arrives at the local park, where Dale's overseeing the transfer.
This is Gibson Park. This is the city parks crew that's laying the sod.
He needs to make sure the transplant goes quickly. The sod can only survive one day stacked and baking in the hot Miami sun. But his workers aren't trained in turf installation. It may look simple, but there's a right way and a wrong way to install turf.
Pieces, grab it underneath, get your hand under it, pick it up as a full piece. Find you a spot for it. Toss it right in, kick the edges in. Voila, instant yard. Sounds easier than it is.
But Mike has no time for Turf 101. His job is to keep the truckloads coming.
I got turn and burn. I got traffic.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Thanks, bye.
As the day grinds on, the team just can't keep pace with Mike. Only time will tell if Dale and his crew can save the sod. Back at the bowl, Ed Hartman's also on edge. Until the turf is out, Demco can't move their machines onto the field.
This is all metal on the lower bowls, and we're just going to chomp that up, or you can't bring any equipment in here until we got the sod off.
Meanwhile, they take on an even bigger challenge. They still must remove the asbestos panels throughout the stadium before they can start major demolition.
Good morning, everyone. Today I have 4 groups. They're gonna work in a
Demco has tasked subcontractor PDG Environmental with the asbestos removal.
Okay, we're gonna have 2 crews. They're gonna work.
Team leader Ullman Espinal briefs the crew,
Southeast,
and they get straight to work.
So they can call me anything happen. Okay? Good luck, guys.
The workers remove the asbestos-laden concrete panel by panel. But removing the asbestos creates another danger, a patchwork of holes. The team works at over 27 meters in the air. Any misstep at these heights could injure or kill a worker. So a safety harness is a must.
Everyone's tied off. Their rigs are checked on a daily basis. And there's always a spotter to make sure he doesn't take a wrong step going too close to the opening.
The workers bag and tag the panels they remove and place them in a quarantine container for shipment to a contained landfill. Day by day, Sergio and Ullman must stay one step ahead of the demo team. They've already tackled 60 panels and have another 14 scheduled for removal today.
These are right here. I think they have 5 panels left in this area right here.
Let's go here and let's double check this side. We'll mark it out and then we'll be able to give plans on that.
The entire project depends on this team's success. Until they clear the stadium of asbestos, Demco can't begin the structural demolition. And they have only months to get the site ready for the new baseball stadium. The next day, there's still hundreds of square meters of orange bowl turf that must come out. And Demco needs the job done today. So turf expert Mike Newby takes the sod delivery into his own hands.
I got up at 2:30 and I hauled 6 loads before the other guys even showed up on the other site to even start to work. So they're pretty much buried in grass over there.
By the afternoon, they remove the last of over 9,000 square meters of Bermuda turf.
This is our last load of sod leaving Orange Bowl. Finally. I'm excited, but I'll be very tired here by the time I get home. I'll sleep good tonight. It's been a hard 2 days. We're done.
For Ed and Demco, it means the next phase of work can finally get underway.
Removing the sod gives us the opportunity to go on to heavy equipment and start doing the work we have to do.
It's time for stage 2, the strip down. Cue the mega machines. It's almost month 2 of the demolition. The famous Miami Orange Bowl turf is gone, so the stadium is Demco's for the taking. They need to systematically rip, strip, and prep the 9-story stadium until they expose its skeletal structure. The first item on the menu, this lower section of field seats. It's a mega job that calls for mega machinery. First up, the mammoth 100-ton Komatsu PC-1000 excavator. Its hydraulic arm extends to heights of 15 meters, and its claw-like shear attachment crushes with a force of 350 kilograms per square centimeter.
It'll just eat through anything. The concrete tears that steel apart, no problem.
It's joined by its baby brother, the Cat 320. Together, the tag team takes on the bull. Soon, it's a bowl full of steel and aluminum salad, ready for recycling. Both materials will be shipped out, cut down, melted, and ultimately reformed. The aluminum will be transformed into everything from window frames to car parts. The steel will go on to become rebar and other products. At the end of just 1 month of work, Demco's already done some serious damage. But there's trouble brewing on the horizon. A storm front is moving in. That's a problem for the team's next challenge. The removal of 8 9-ton light towers. The towers loom over 20 stories high, so the team must use a crane to take them down one by one. But Mother Nature isn't being a team player. Winds whip through the area. Safety manager Ed Hartman knows that strong gales and over 50 meters of crane can be a catastrophic combination. It's a disaster that's happened before at another stadium. It's 1999. Workers are constructing the retractable roof of Milwaukee's Miller Ballpark.
What the hell is it? Watch it!
The heavily loaded 170-meter crane swings in the 41-kilometer-per-hour winds and collapses, killing 3 workers. It's a catastrophe that safety manager Ed Hartman wants to avoid at all costs.
The crane's only capable of up to 18-mile-an-hour winds. Anytime you get anything up to those max, you can't even think about making a pick.
Coming in from the northwest, west-northwest.
Hey Jason, wind speeds at 25 miles an hour doesn't look good for the day.
Ed is forced to call off the light tower removal. On this finely tuned operation, even 1 day down could throw the project off schedule. But Ed will not risk the safety of his crew. Demco must wait for the weather to clear. Three days later, the wind dies down and Ed clears the crane crew to begin.
Got certified. It's going to be picking one of the towers today, maybe 2. So
The job will be a balance of speed and safety.
Going through. You don't belong in there, stay out of there.
But there's an added challenge. The state-of-the-art towers are valued at $125,000 each. The city wants to sell them. So they must come out in one piece.
Okay, everyone's clear. Hit the horn! We're clear for go. Boom up slow. Cable up slow.
The challenge of maneuvering these giants into the parking lot begins.
Stop. Hey, you got it. Pull it out of the pocket. Thank you.
The crane operator must tightly control his rig. A wrong move from the boom could send the 14-story tower crashing to the ground or into the stadium.
All right, skipper. Cable down.
Cable down. Swing left. Hold your swing, cable down.
Yeah, I got it.
Swing left. Cable down, cable down, cable down. Put it on the ground. Touch it down, touch it down. Hold it there, hold your load.
They've got the base to the ground, but they still need to turn 42 meters of vertical into 42 meters of horizontal.
Oh, Richard, that ain't gonna work like that. You gotta go back around.
There's a fence in the way, not to mention people and equipment.
Now, if you went around under this way, it'd be all right, but...
Like a puzzle, the team must find a way to make this piece fit.
Hey, can you give me another foot?
Cable down. 3, 2, 1. Touchdown.
One down, 7 more to go. Inside the bowl, the strip-down surges on. The excavators continue to feast on the next section of seats. When they're finished, there'll be nothing left but a skeletal structure. Bite after bite, the operators use the shears to excise the steel and load it onto trucks. The scrap travels 20 kilometers to nationwide metal recycling and processing. General Manager Mark Jolly supervises the delivery.
Today we're accepting a lot of the orange bowl material. It comes in across the scale in the front, gets weighed, dumped on the ground by the container. The grapple crane separates it, brings it into the shear.
The automated shear applies 900 tons of shredding pressure every 30 seconds, making mincemeat of the scrap. The majority of cut-down steel is transported 563 kilometers to Gerdau Ameristeel in northern Florida, where it's melted and reformed into steel reinforcing called rebar. Some Orange Bowl scrap is destined to become something altogether different, without ever leaving Miami. At U.S. Foundry and Manufacturing, an operator uses a magnet crane to mix the steel with iron scrap. It's like a giant kitchen. And plant manager Shane Debagory is top chef.
It's like baking a cake when you're melting this iron. You have to have the right mixture of material to make the proper quality of metal.
They add a pinch of coke, a coal-based product used to facilitate melting in the furnace. And then machines gyrate the mix into a 24-meter oven, where it's melted to temperatures over 2,000 degrees Celsius. Once the steel and iron melt, the crew transports the molten mix to the form line. Here, a worker pours the melted alloy into molds made of compressed sand and clay. On the other end, mechanical belts shake the final product out of the sand. Manhole covers. The famous Orange Bowl Stadium has been turned into anonymous drainage covers. Well, not entirely anonymous. The lids can even be customized. Working 24 hours a day, U.S. Foundry outputs up to 30,000 manhole covers a week. Weeks later, back at the bowl, the excavators have stripped the stadium to a skeletal structure. But Demco's only halfway done. They still need to bring down the rest of the stadium and clear the land for the new ballpark. Imploding the structure would be quick, but costly. So instead, they'll systematically demolish it with wrecking balls and mega machines. The Orange Bowl is about to be history. It's nearly month 3 of the project, and Demko has removed the Orange Bowl's 70,000 seats, over 9,000 square meters of turf,
Hold your swing, cable down.
8 9-ton stadium light towers, cleared the site of asbestos, and stripped the stadium down to a skeleton. They're right on schedule for the last stage, the breakdown. The Orange Bowl is a relatively simple construction of steel girders and concrete. But what it lacks in complexity, it makes up in scale. At 200 meters in diameter and over 12 stories high, the stadium packs over 24,000 cubic meters of concrete and over 5,000 tons of steel. Demko's already stripped the inner bowl of steel, but the biggest structures still remain. The concrete press box tower and outer steel bowl. Dynamite would bring it all down in seconds, but Demko must meet a 95% recycling goal. So instead, it will be systematically demolished section by section. They'll use a wrecking ball to take down the concrete and excavators to topple the steel. They'll move around the bowl until it's reduced to rubble. First on the hit list, the press box tower.
You okay in it?
The crane rolls out, and the barricades go up. This tower has broadcast 4 decades of Miami football moments, so its farewell is a camera-worthy event.
Start ball as soon as I give the go-ahead. Nothing goes off until I'm all ready, water's set, and everybody's back far enough, and I feel comfortable, and they tell me they're good, and that's it.
The final moment draws near. The crew rigs the crane with a 1,300-kilogram ball, complete with celebratory orange paint.
We're going to mess and start wrecking stuff now.
Go ahead and get the horse.
Okay, everyone's clear. Okay, you got it. Tell me what you want.
Go ahead.
Not good.
But the tower doesn't budge.
Need to pick it back up.
Hang on, you gotta bring him back up.
The structure has more reinforcing steel, or rebar, than anyone bargained for. The rebar absorbs each blow like a sponge.
Something's holding it. I got quite a bit on it.
When they do break through, its steel tentacles threaten to swallow the ball. The crew needs a plan B. A bigger ball. 2,700 kilograms to be exact. But the bigger the ball, the bigger the strain on the 80-meter cable.
You're all set.
Swinging increases this tension and could cause the cable to snap in half. That's a deadly scenario for certified crane operator Rich Whiteacre.
When the cable snaps, the cable runs back down the boom, it usually winds up in the operator's cab. It's dangerous.
The solution is simple. Swap balls.
They use the 3,000 for swinging and the 6,000 for dropping.
But that doesn't make the task less of a challenge.
I got my eye on the cable and the ball and the boom all the time. The first time you don't look, when that ball hits, that's when something's gonna land in your lap.
It's a risky job, but Rich has got years of practice.
not getting a crane because you don't find many people that'll work with a wrecking ball anymore. You know, all the young kids coming up, they don't swing wrecking balls. I've been doing demo all my life.
Day by day, ball by ball, Rich takes down the tower. All around the bowl, workers load the rubble onto trucks destined for the processing facility. Concrete that stood watch over 5 Super Bowls is now potentially destined to be filler for Miami roads and highways. Meanwhile, safety manager Ed Hartman is thinking about taking down even bigger pieces of the stadium.
Everything's getting set up on the north side. Within an hour, we'll be pulling over one more section of the Orange Bowl.
Demco is ready to rumble. It's the final stage of the Orange Bowl demolition. There's just over 1 month to go before Demco's deadline is up. They've tackled the press box tower. Now it's time to take down the rest of the bowl. Demco wants to harness the power of the excavators to collapse the remaining steel skeletal structure. The stadium's a near circle of 89 steel girder constructed bays. They hope they can topple an average of 5 bays at a time with a method called cut and pull. The cut involves torching the supporting steel I-beams with a bench cut. The formation supports the structure from above, but collapses when pulled from the side. The pull is generated by connecting the I-beam to an excavator via a cable, and then moving the machine in reverse, pulling the sections down with it.
All the prep work was done yesterday. Today they'll finish making their final cuts. They'll cable it together, and after they cable it together, that'll be, they'll pull it down.
Collapsing each group of 9-story high bays is like pulling down an entire building that could crush and kill anyone left inside.
Is he out of that vehicle?
Ed must make sure everyone is cleared out and accounted for.
Hey, Walt, did you get a hold of Richard and tell him that we're going to do this pull in 5 minutes, and anybody in the back side there to stand them down?
Do that. I'll confirm.
They make the last cuts and cable up the excavators for the pull.
Blast that horn in so we get everybody to understand what's going on right now.
Okay.
Wayne, be holding up your trucks.
Yeah.
Hey, operator, are y'all getting any kind of bind to having to pull them out, or are they pulling pretty easy?
Want them to pull forward?
Jason, we're all clear.
Go ahead. Very good. Alright, easy back. I'm not seeing you on the ground yet. Hey, man,
It's a smashing success.
That's what you wanted to see. Plenty of water hitting the air, keep the dust down, everything laying on the ground. It's the way everything's supposed to go off.
Pull by pull, they move around the bowl. A mountain of debris in their wake.
Right now we're starting to feel good about the pace. We started off slow, but now we're working it at a nice clip. Hoping to be in another month to have everything pretty much close to being down.
Demco doubles its army of excavators to keep pace with the debris.
Now, we originally started off with 3, then we went up to 4,
Right now we've got 8. We just keep on moving, adding equipment as we need it.
The rubble must be shipped out fast.
I'm gonna let you in the gate. We'll load you over there.
Trucks loaded with steel and concrete move in and out of the stadium
There's another one on the way, Russ.
at a rate of 1 every 8 minutes.
No. Feeling good today. Lots of trot. Good. Making it all go away. That's the best part.
It's the Orange Bowl's final squeeze. After 4 months, Demco is done. The iconic Orange Bowl is history. Demco recycled 95% of the stadium and made their deadline. The site is ready for the city of Miami's new baseball park. There's reason to celebrate.
Some cigars for a job well done. It's been a pleasure all working together. Salud. Salud.
What you got?
All right. No injuries, no incidents. You know, it's just been a phenomenal job all the way around. You know, couldn't be happier.
Back at the local park, the transplanted Orange Bowl turf adjusts to its new environment. And so does Dale. His new job is with the city's Parks and Recreation Department. So a part of the stadium remains in his care.
The sod that came here is nice and green and doing well. We're maybe trying to bring a little magic of the Orange Bowl to Gibson Park.
The Orange Bowl may be gone, but for many, its memory will always live on.